just the fact that you use those terms is part of the reason why you're the Stone Cold Steve Austin and not Joe Jabroni, with a podcast with 8 people, because you aren't to me, it's amazing. Not to change the subject, but it's amazing. Like guys will go through this business and they'll work on this moves, and I'll give you an exact example. Elix Skipper's a great kid. I really like him, and he did the single most amazing move in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. He the TNA they actually had like a 10 or 12 foot cage or 15 foot cage. They had like a really super high cage, and he and Daniels and somebody else were sitting on the top of it fighting, and he actually walked the top, like the Undertaker walks, the top rope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He walked the top of the cage, but there's nobody holding his hand. Walked the top of the cage, and then Frankensteinered Daniels or somebody off the top of the cage. But yeah, nobody heard about it. Nobody cares about it. It's not a thing anybody talks about. Greatest move, and I've never seen. I don't think it's possible to beat that without seriously taking a chance of screwing yourself over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, have you ever seen that move?
No. Who was doing this?
You have to. Elix Skipper did it.
No.
The cage had to be the cage legitimately had to be. What are these short ones? 8 foot, 10 foot. So that had to be 15 foot. And he's standing on top, so his head where his eyes are is like 20 foot up. And he climbed up in the corner, and then Daniels and them had shimmied out to the center, and whoever he was punching with, I guess. So Elix walked on like a balance beam, walked the top of the cage, and then Frankensteiner, I think both of them, or at least one of them off the top. And of course, it wasn't the finish or anything. Why would it be?
Yeah, but is the point you're trying to make the way Dusty talked and moved and captivated the crowd?
My point. Let me come back to it. So my point being is that Elix all the time would work on his moves. I'm like, dude, that if you have 5 good moves, that's all you need. I consider sitting in the corner one of my moves.
Yeah,
you don't need that many moves. What you need is to develop a persona, a character. And it's like, if he would have been, if he could have developed or would have developed a personality to match his athleticism, wow, unbelievable. I mean, he could have, he could have been Rey Mysterio before Rey Mysterio, but, you know what I'm saying? He could have been the small guy well, I guess it was after Rey Mysterio, but he could have been a small guy that had jumped to a next level, but a smaller guy. But he never worked on the character, and I'm like, why do you spend so much? It just drove me up a wall that he would spend so much time working on the attribute that, let's face it, in all honesty, is the single least important part about wrestling, is the actual wrestling. And people might hate that I say that, but the people that spend the money, the casual fans that make up the real box office, they're there for the entertainment. They're there for the showmanship. They're there to see Dusty with his cadence and his lisp and the flip-flop and fly. And
they want to see that larger-than-life character, go in there and do what they do. And when you go back to Dusty Rhodes and you're talking about the fancy high-flying moveset that the other guy had, when you think about Dusty Rhodes, you're thinking about classic, grab a body part, work the body part, and then, just the magic stuff. Bionic elbow. Dude, when he used it to start dropping bionic elbow, especially in the tag when heels are feeding in, and he starts dropping that bionic elbow, and then he does that, I call it the snake charmer, where he rolls his hands together and rears back and delivers that trademark bionic elbow right in the guy's forehead, and the dude takes a big flat back, quick bump for him. Dude, and then he shakes his hips and moves backwards, and it just turns that charisma on, and the roof blows off the place.
And that's what's really interesting, the other Dusty thing, his selling. He knew how to sell, when you were getting over, there was another guy that got over so big who did absolutely nothing, who has a move set of 2 moves, and he knows it. He'll tell you that. It's the Road Dogg. The Road Dogg has the shimmy, 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 and the knee drop, and the shimmy, shimmy, whatever, jabs.
Yeah.
No, I guess the shimmy, jabs, and a knee dropper or whatever. It's a very small move set. And he'll tell you, but because he learned from his dad, all he does is sell. He goes, all right, I'm going to hit my 2 moves and then cut me off and beat me up, get some heat. And people get behind it, you know? It's simple. I mean, like, not to put myself over, but one time when I was Johnny Polo, I was working Virgil, and and I actually got I actually got people to chant. Of course, it was the other way, because if you have enough steam on you as a heel, you can also cause the same effect. But I actually got the people to chant "Go Virgil, go," which I think probably was the first.
Right.
You know, nothing. I thought I might get a bigger pop, but it didn't. But apparently you never had to work with Virgil. But yeah, so there's the selling. There's so many categories. You know, you have to be a director, an actor, a producer, a writer. Well, you don't have to be a writer anymore because now they just force you to read their scripts. A stuntman. There's so many hats you have to wear, but the least important hat is the wrestling hat. You know, and so, but people don't get that, and they just want to, you know, and not only that, but man, when I got into business, it was a mark of honor if you were considered light. You know, that was a mark of honor. You know,
right?
Like now guys are like, I want to work strong style. I'm like, why? I want to be tough. Well, if you want to be tough, then go into UFC. But this is supposed to, you know. After 10, 15 years, they're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have worked strong style. It's not about this. This business has nothing to do with toughness. I mean, you have to be tough to be in it because, you know, just the beatings you take. But you don't have to add any extra beyond and above and beyond, you know, infliction of stiffness, you know, other than TV where, you know, you need to lay it in. You know what I mean? But or you need to at least be snug, you know. But it just, to me, I find it, you know, that people just don't get it, the business. I mean, and you can put it in and you can tell them, but it's that stupid saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him, you know, sell, or you can't make him, you know, work on his character.